Hey there, Capsuleers. You're listening to Low Life, an EVE Online podcast discussing life in low-security space, hosted by Cypher and Spence. The Low Life podcast is not an official CCP Games production. It is a labor of love by two veteran EVE players with a passion for the game, and low-sec life in particular. The views expressed on this podcast are their own. Warning for all you sensitive types out there, we do cuss and troll on this podcast, so listener discretion is advised. The show can be found at evelowlife.podbean.com and on your favorite podcast dissemination apps. And now, on with the show. Hey guys, Aradus here from the podcast. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this week's episode, I just want to clear something up. We were recording this as the Jita Riot today was going on November 13th. And we are well aware of the strong opinions of a large part of the community concerning the new mining, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be coming out here soon. The patch, okay? This big pass that's going over mining. And as we were looking at the notes today, my co-hosts and I were talking about trying to find the positives in this so we can talk about that. We're trying to make lemonade out of lemons with this and find the good things within these patch notes that we enjoyed. We understand that the waste issue and compression and some of the other things that are in this are completely scary and can potentially cause massive issues for many people in the game. Thankfully, there was a post on the Evo forums this evening from one of the CCP devs that said that they're putting it up on Sissy to give it some testing and that this is not the final product. Hopefully that means that they're seeing the feedback that is coming in from the community and they want to adjust it. That's a hope that we have. So please, when you're listening to our episode today, don't automatically be like, fuck these guys. They're just bootlicking, because that's not the intent here. We're not bootlicking. We're literally trying to find the good things in these patches because we do love this game and we want to keep enjoying the game. There's a big movement right now concerning the negatives of this, and we get it and we agree with much of it. However, we wanted to present some of the things that we saw that looked kind of cool, like compression for a porpoise and things like that. We wanted to give that angle of it, all right? You're going to hear a lot of stuff from a lot of really smart people who understand the math behind the compression and the waste and how that can be potentially game-breaking. On other podcasts, the Meta Show had a great thing about it today. That's not what our focus was here. It was completely about, let's see what we can find that was a good takeaway from it. So please keep that in mind as you listen to our episode today, and we welcome your feedback, but we just came back from EVE Vegas where we had such a good time meeting all these people in EVE that, we're friends, right? We've now made friends, face-to-face friends, real-life people. Let's not fuck that stuff up by hating on someone because we have differing opinions on a patch in a game. Okay? Just kind of keep that in mind. No matter what's going on with these patches, we're all still players. We're all on the same team in that sense. And we're just trying to get through this like everybody else. And let's hope that CCP does the right thing, looks at this, and sees the things that can potentially make some very destructive things happen amongst the player community. So, without any further gilding the lily, here's the episode. Thanks. Hey everybody, this is Aradus, a.k.a. Joey Porkroll, a.k.a. Doc, a.k.a. 9 billion other things because I got a bunch of names, from the EVE Low Life podcast. And this is actually take 2 of this podcast because the other day we recorded it and for some reason it didn't save and we lost everything. But the good news is all the things that we were speculating on, this is the night before the patch notes dropped for the new quadrant, we were kind of just speculating. Now we actually get to just talk about them. So today I am joined by my co-hosts, longtime EVE player. First off is Cypher. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How about you?
Hanging in there. It's a beautiful day outside here in Houston, Texas for once. So
not here.
Now you got the rain coming in still?
Rain, snow, wind.
You guys have to turn the heat on yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Early November heat on.
30s in the evenings.
Yeah, it was 48 here last night, 48 Fahrenheit here in Houston last night. And we had to bring our sulcata tortoise into the garage so he doesn't go into hibernation. But for us, this is kind of early for it getting this cold. Okay. And also we have with us our other co-host, longtime EVE player, Smashies. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. We're here again.
We're doing this again. First one was a dress rehearsal, apparently. How's the weather down there in Florida?
Other than the lack of snow, it's pretty much exactly what Cypher just described.
I'll take my sunshine and enjoy it, and I'll just send you guys good vibes.
So, yeah, you guys can just keep your hurricanes down south there.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not even going to go into our thoughts on Michigan, so enjoy living in the oven, Mitt.
I will.
It's just more reasons to party.
Right. We're going to touch on a couple things first before we get to our main topic. The main topic being which I'm pretty sure just about every podcast is going to be talking about for the next week or so, which is the new Dawn Age of Prosperity, the new quadrant stuff that was announced. But first, we want to touch on a few things. First of all, the EVE Online Alliance Tournament 17 is going on right now. This is the final weekend for it. By the time you're listening to this, it may almost be over, or it may be over. There have been some really good teams this year competing, and I've actually really enjoyed watching it. Recording in the middle of I guess this is like the semifinals today on Saturday, tomorrow being the finals. So we are missing some of the matches, but one of the matches I watched this just a little while ago that I really enjoyed was the Network versus Templis Calcif. That was a really good match. Like, it was a low point match, and they went the full timer, but I mean, these guys were doing good pilot dances on the stream. Did you guys get a chance to watch that one?
I was probably fixing the car.
I was probably driving home.
There you go. See, and that was kind of, I watched that one, and then I left the office for the day from the shop. So yeah, I kind of watched that, and I was like, wow, this is really good. If you guys get a chance to, if you're into the Alliance tournament and you didn't see the matches, I'm pretty sure the recordings are saved over there on Twitch's CCP's Twitch stream. Check them out if you can. It was pretty good matches. Again, tomorrow is the finals, and we'll get to see who's going to take the whole thing. You guys got any predictions on who's going to take it?
Probably Capel.
I think I'd like to see Rote Capel win it as well.
They need to make more videos.
Yes. There's been some good videos on the commercials that are on the stream from the different players. And honestly, the Alliance Tournament 17 trailer video thing that they've been putting out with the guy with like the Scottish accent that's talking, and they show like the corpse floating in space. That was actually a really good one too. It kind of gets the blood pumping, like, man, this is exciting. There's multiple battles in space to be fought and all this. It was pretty cool. So I like seeing that stuff. I like seeing all the media that comes out with it. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. This kind of coincides or overlaps rather what was going on today with Alliance Tournament, and that is the Mittani called for a riot in Jita, everybody to meet up at Jita 44 and shoot fireworks at the statue. This was, I guess we could say, it's inspired by the New Dawn Quadrant announcement that we're about to talk about. But I don't think it's just about that. A lot of people are saying, oh, the goons are pissed because of this, and they're rioting because their work walls aren't going to be as good anymore. I don't think that's the point of it. Even Mittani himself kind of said in one of his jabbers, like, this is just building frustration from so many different things that CCP has done that is not what the players need or want. There was tie-dye. I know at one point it was like 10% tie-dye. They're trying to get it lower. Whatever. It is what it is. And I always thought Jita locked it. I thought they said 4,000 they were going to lock it. I guess CCP lifted that for this. But.
Or it's lies. Just lies.
Or it's lies, right? It's, yeah, could be.
You can only fit 4,000 people in there. So, so maybe if you tell them that, they won't do it.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, like they put that out there as, just some fake news. You are fake news, Jita 44. Unless you guys got something else about the riot. I mean, we didn't attend. I mean, it wasn't like we were boycotting or anything. I was at work. So, and Smash, you were at work, and Syph, you were working on your car. Yeah, so like we had other things to do.
For gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I get it a lot. Some of the guys from our corp went. They went and they shot their fireworks and whatnot, and they joined in. That's cool. And I honestly don't think that our guys, because most of our guys have less than 2 years of playing the game that are in our corporation. I think for a lot of these guys, they don't know that feeling that we have that have played for over a decade, where there is some big frustrations. And that's not to say that people who are new to the game don't get frustrated.
Or they don't even know what Burn Jita was.
Right. So like for them, this
monuments there and all that.
Yeah, they're not sure that, they're not sure of that history. And I'm not knocking the new guys, but for them, this was kind of an opportunity to be a part of something. It was like more like a player run event than it was like, get out the torches and, FU CCP. It was more of being a part of something. And that's cool. I get that. And I think that's neat. I've done Burn Jita before. I don't to me, I don't really need to go again. I mean, either CCP is going to do something about it or they're not. Me going to Jita, I don't think really has that big of an impact. That's me. I'm also one of those people that I don't like the candidates in an election. I just don't go vote. So that's my feeling. We're going to have Johan joining us here in a second too. Johan Penderson will be joining the podcast just in time for our main part of the topic. That's cool. So yeah, for those of you that are now still listening and have not fallen asleep due to my rambling, we are going to be talking about the dev blog that dropped 4 days ago now. Yep. It's New Dawn, New Quadrant. Links will be in the show notes if you have not seen it. This is going to be obviously an opinion-based, an editorial discussion, as a lot of the stuff that is in this blog post is still being tested and is not on our server yet, on the main server yet. I want to caveat this whole conversation with a lot of the things they're talking about in this dev blog says they use the word may. So nothing in here is completely written in stone yet. So the people that are kind of getting a little hot and heavy about this might need to just go maybe take a gummy or something.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, pump the brakes, and that'll be that's a definite thing. Johan, welcome. We are just getting to our main topic. We went ahead and got the Alliance tournament talk out of the way, and we got the Jita torch burning conversation out of the way. So we're moving on to the main topic. Before we do, however, do you have anything you'd like to add about the Jita event that's going on today?
Well, I think it's let everybody express their opinion, right? That's the thing. When I saw it, I thought it's a pretty unique way to do it, but I personally don't think that it's a big thing for me. I kind of like the proposed changes. I mean, I guess just like guns can miss and you lose ammunition. I mean, I guess lasers can cycle and not get anything.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about that. I'm gonna go through a couple of the New Dawn Quadrant points here in the write-up from CCP on the website. You guys, if I start blowing past something you want to talk about, just go ahead and shut me up, and I'll shut the fuck up and we'll talk about it. Again, this just dropped about 4 days ago. It says changes to mining, compression, and resources. The journey to strengthen the health and foundation of EVE's ecosystem began nearly 2 years ago when 3 phases were laid out in the Ecosystem Outlook article: shortage, redistribution, and dynamic distribution. During this time, there have been significant updates to the distribution of resources in the universe, and equally significant changes to how ships are manufactured. Come December, New Eden will move into the next phase of this original plan as discussed back in 2020. New Dawn will bring increased resources throughout the universe, extensive updates to mining, a comprehensive rebalancing of EVE's mining ships, and equally significant updates to resource compression. You'll be able to read up on all these exciting updates, as well as get a peek at what the road to prosperity looks like in a detailed dev blog coming this Friday. So real quick, I'm going to jump.
For those of you that don't know, that was yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday from when we're recording.
Yesterday was Friday, bitches.
Yes, it was. Again, the EVE Online team, I did notice that they put now a lot with these articles. They don't put a CCP dev's name on an article. I think they're doing that to prevent the death threats that come. It just says the EVE Online team. In July, it was mentioned that the shortage phase was ending and that Q4 EVE Online would be fully moving on to the redistribution phase, followed by dynamic distribution later in 2022. Specifically, the following was mentioned: introduction of moon ore and gas compression to better facilitate the newly decoupled industry changes, a balance pass for all mining ships, and additional specialized holds for gas and ice. The title of this article is From Extraction to Production. This update introduces more raw materials into New Eden, compression for gas, ice, and moon ore, hooray, updates to mining and mining crystals, and a rebalancing of the Orca and Rorqual as well ships. While the Orca and Rorqual will no longer be the best solo mining platforms, they are receiving a buff to their command bonuses and added new roles. I'm going to hit the highlights, and then we're going to start talking about some of the things for the ships. It says highlights include doubling resource quantity of ore and asteroid belts. All Amber, Kernite, and Crocite quantities are doubled in Sov anomalies. Ice belts are going to get another buff on top of the 200% buff they got recently. Or previously. Mycosaracin, Cytosaracin, and Fullerene are getting some resource quantity doubling. Double the extraction rate from all moons. That's going to be important in our talk. Reduced PI materials required for certain subcapital and capital components. They're having water for having, HALV, not having water for core temperature regulators used in battleship and capital ship construction, and significant reduction in P4 materials used in capital component production. To me, that's a win for Matani, because he has been harping on this water thing for a while now on Meta Show and tweets and whatnot, that the water that was creating like a huge PI roadblock to with this new capital bullshit that they go on. So I kind of saw that as a win in there, that at least they paid attention and said, yeah, you know what? No capital ships are being made like they used to. We need to adjust this. So let me back up a little bit. Let's start talking about the fact that they're going to be doubling the resource quantities. They're calling this New Dawn, the Age of Prosperity. Do you guys believe that the name of this quadrant, Age of Prosperity, is legit, or is it just sound like some marketing to you guys?
Completely marketing.
I mean, I didn't hear anything about Spod coming back, so I mean, I'm an old school solo Rourke miner. I didn't have a fleet, so that was kind of my bread and butter. But I get it, because we've got the guys with 10 to 15 Rourkes out there, 5 Rourkes, just print NISC. So there had to be something that changed, right?
Something that I've been seeing pop up, and I guess I should skip ahead real quick to explain why we're talking about it like this. Okay, they're going to be skills, 19 individual skills to 6 skills. They'll be refunding up to 13.568 million skill points per character to be optionally reallocated to the new categories, which is only 11.776 million. So if you've maxed out all of your reprocessing skills, you got a character, that's what they do, max reprocessor, and you're going to get the new reprocessing skills done properly, you're actually going to get a refund of like 2.2 million skill points to put wherever you want, like on top of keeping your perfect reprocessing. I think that's kind of cool. However, if you don't have the points to put into it, when we were looking into it, I think it's like almost a 6-month train if you're starting from scratch on reprocessing. Just be advised of that if you decide to use those points somewhere else. ISK will also be refunded at the base price for the deleted skill books, both in the inventory and injected to characters. I think that's kind of, you're getting something back, but it's also a bit shady, because if you buy the skill through the buy it now skill button in your skill thing, it's usually more money than the skill book. So
yeah, but you've got the convenience fee, and let's be realistic, we're talking less than 100 million ISK worth of stuff.
Oh yeah,
and so you're 3 ratting ticks in a shitty ship.
Condensing all mining crystals into the following categories: common, uncommon, rare, superior, abyssal, and mercoxit. Mining waste, and we're going to talk about that here in a sec, and added new variants for each mining crystal: standard yield, high waste, less reliable. All right, standard yield is one level, higher yield, high waste, less reliable is another tier, and then lower yield, very high waste, very unreliable. Going into the mining waste, and I think this is where a lot of the guys that do, like Johan, you were just talking about with they got their personal Rourke fleets out there, stripping and lawn mowing things. They are having an issue with this waste thing. All ore quantities are doubled in the asteroid belts. All ore quantities are doubled in all resource anomalies. All ice quantities are doubled. Technically, they've been like quadrupled this year, we can say. Like they've been like quadrupled. And they've also made the ice spawns, instead of being how they used to be like rando, now they're more static. Like you kill off a belt and it comes back. So not immediately, but it comes back. Like
the old days.
Yeah, kind of like the old days. And as a guy who makes money on ice, I thought that was great. I was like, yeah, fantastic. All Amber, Kernite, and Crocite quantities are doubled in Sov anomalies, whilst Mercoxit quantities are increased by 20% in addition to the previous 200% increase. All Mycosaracin quantities are doubled. On chance of extra sites that was added earlier this year has been reduced. Ick. All Cytosaracin quantities are doubled. Fullerene quantities are doubled. Extraction rate is doubled from the moons. Okay, so this is going to be the thing we're going to talk about now. Moon extractions will take the same time as before. So if you have a 30-day pull or 55-day pull, that doesn't change. But they will yield 2 times the quantity of ore when they fracture than they currently do. Extractions which are in progress and not yet fractured at deployment time will receive the 2 times yield when they fracture. And then removal of all basic materials from R4 moon, finalizing the plan of removing basic materials from moons. So a huge sticking point I'm hearing with people in the community is that to mine the moons now, unless you are using like the ore faction modules and things like that are going to have these counters to waste, that unless you've got high level perfect skills or gear for it, you shouldn't be mining like R64, R32 moons, which a lot of the large alliances and coalitions used to fund their SRPs and their bills and all that. There's some people that are saying like, man, it's just a waste now to do it. This waste system is going to destroy moon mining.
Oh no, you have to train your skills up more to be proficient like us that do combat and other things.
Well, yeah, and
amen to that.
We started off, our corporation started off as a raw materials collection corp that we would gather it, and then we would contract it out to other corporations and alliances. We would strip mine and then we would sell it. And we weren't doing it in Rorquals and stuff. We were doing it in, procurers and orcas and porpoises and things like that. And that's how we got our start. What am I missing? Please explain it to me.
They're not doing the math.
I think it's just logical. There's so much that goes into mining and building and all that. We already as industrialists, I'll argue the other side of the coin. We get hit with a reprocessing tax. We get hit with, like 87 point whatever is the max refine. Okay, so we're already losing ore there. Now we're going to lose ore whenever it comes to compression. Then we're going to lose ore on the mining field, whenever your lasers miss, right? With exploration, sure, you lose a can because your skills suck or you don't know what you're doing. Isn't that the same thing? Like if your skills suck and you don't know what you're doing, then you're going to lose a can. You're going to, if you're going to lose a Vexer whenever you're ratting, you're going to now lose ore because your skills aren't good enough. It comes down to, do you want to make the investment? Do you want faction drone damage amplifiers on your Vexer, or do you just want to put some Tech 2 crap on there and get by?
Right.
So training the skills, spending the ISK, making the investment, risk versus reward. That's kind of the name of the game we play, right? And
miners are always looked at, people who are miner primaries have always in EVE been looked at as like, you look on anything, you go back and Reddit and the Evo forums for almost 2 decades now. Somebody who says like, I joined this game because I enjoy mining, they'll be like, oh man, you're going to be broken, you're going to hate the game, and you're going to quit after a year. Because mining has generally been an activity you do because you have to, not because you want to. So those people who do enjoy breaking rocks, and I got to be honest, I'm one of them. I like mining in EVE. It's to me, it's cathartic. It's also a chance to hang out in a TeamSpeak or a Discord chat with my bros, and we talk about bullshit, and we just kind of, it's like a visual chat room for me. I've said this before on the podcast. Mining to me is a visual chat room. I enjoy it.
So let's look at some of the ship changes real quick.
I love these.
Just talking about that, you've got your Exhumer skill now matters even more for the Skiff and the Mackinac, because let's just be honest, the Mackinac was largely shit.
Yep.
You're now getting 3% yield per level, so 15% total yield, and then plus 2.5 to cargo capacity. That's pretty sick, right? I mean, you talk about your solo miner who's out there, just the one guy. And you're out there with your corp, you've got a guy who has a Rourke boosting or an Orca boosting or even a Porpoise boosting. You now have that much more incentive to use that ship.
Yep.
The Skiff got some love, which is one of my favorite ships in the game. You've got plus 5% to strip miner yield, which is the barge skill, minus 4% to ice harvester duration, plus 6% to shield HP and armor HP. So let's just go out there and say if you're bait tanking a Skiff, it's now really worth it to armor tank the crap out of it too. Put some E-War on it. But your Exhumer skill, another 4% to shield resist and armor resist, plus 5% damage to light and medium drones. I think that's really good. You're seeing some love to those ships. Now, I don't see numbers, and maybe you've got them, Doc, that I've just missed. But the Porpoise and the Orca, at least looking at those, like currently they've got a 5% bonus to cargo capacity, 2% bonus to mining foreman burst on the Porpoise, 10% to drone hit points, damage, and or mining yield, and then a 10% reduction in ice harvesting. The new changes, you still get the cargo capacity, you get the ore capacity, the gas capacity, ice capacity, a +2 to mining foreman burst, and then to effect and duration, and then 15% to drone damage. But there is no more drone mining bonus on there, which just shows that the AFK, I'm going to sit my butt here in high sec on this ice belt and dominate the whole thing by myself. That's gone.
Now they're a command ship. It's the supervisor on the field for the mining operation. I'm going to collect things. I'm going to compress things. I'm going to boost you guys, and I'm going to coordinate the mining fleet. That's the purpose of it. That's what it's no longer just or will not be, like you said, I'm going to go park this motherfucker out here and I'm just going to let it go do its thing. Like right now I can put an ice mining drone on a porpoise, go out to an ice field, park it, and go about my day. And it's going to be slow as hell. But at the end of the day, I can come every couple hours and check it and go empty it. Well, that's not really as lucrative as it should be. So, let me take that back. It's not that it shouldn't be as it should be. That's not what that ship should be for. It's a command ship. It should be out there with a group. So I'm excited for these changes, especially the porpoise one. I love the porpoise. And now to me, having compression on the field is great. And but there's loss involved. Okay. But now I also don't have to keep flying back and forth to drop shit off. I'll take it. I can stay on the field longer. PvPers should be happy about that too. Because that means more ships on grid, more ships in space.
Through some of the ship changes, the only thing that I'm really having a hard time with out of all these ship changes is the cargo hold, the ore hold changes, prospect, and the endurance. I think those holds are a little high because some of them are actually over some of the barges.
I think this adjustment will help, logic that out.
Yeah, and as I said at the beginning of the recording, a lot of this stuff is they said, May.
Right.
Like they're still tweaking this shit. I don't think this is the final product. I mean, it's pretty close, I think, but I think there's going to be some tweaking. Oh, Primate is on there. I wanted to talk about that real quick. So the Primate. Here's a ship that came out. That was when they released Planetary, the PI, right? It was the Primate was the gift, right?
Yep.
So there's not a lot of them out there because you can't make them. But yeah, I got one sitting around. I think it's like mothballed in a Mar and 10 years or whatever, however long it's been. But they finally tweaked it because it really has no purpose other than to say I got one. But they gave it gets a 10K ice hold and a 10K gas hold. And I just thought that was so freaking cool that they gave the Primate some love.
It's pretty nice.
I won't undock it.
I'm still not using it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool that it got a role change. So like Cryos, right? Cryos gets a 30K ice hold and relevant bonus. Okay, now we're going to see Cryos is flying back and forth to ice belts when people are mining, right? I mean, cool. But Hoarder, 30K gas hold, fantastic. We're going to see them coming in and out of wormholes.
Packed full of compressed gas.
Yep.
These dudes are going to be rolling in it.
Fucking loot pinatas.
Absolutely.
Like pinatas.
We have said for a long time we wanted a fart truck. Guys, we finally got our fart truck. Oh, and they've got, if you've seen the gas harvester turret concepts on this, as well. So, you're going to be able to put them on your actual, mining ships. You don't have to go out in the prospect to go get this or have your Gnosis gas huffer. You can actually, sorry, Smash. I know you love your Gnosis gas huffer, but now you'll be able to put these turrets on and suck up farts on your regular mining ship.
So here's another thing as we're talking about ships. I'm looking at this and so looking at the skiff, I've got like 6 spreadsheets on my desk right now from CCP. You're missing a mid slot now on the skiff.
Yep.
You're losing 1,500 shield HP. You're gaining 5% to your EM, therm, and kinetic resist. Oh, and explosive. You're losing 500 armor HP. But your armor resists are going up as well. The explosive's going up. Okay, so you're still going to have an explosive hole, whatever. You're losing 1,000 structure HP. So these things are going to be more fragile, but they're going to be more resistant at the same time. While it looks like CCP was like, okay, we're just going to put this here. If you look at the numbers, it's truly a balance pass. It's just okay, let's just put a little tape on this and send it out. Somebody looked at this. Somebody went through it and was like, okay, how can we actually make this viable? How can we make these ships like function better in the game? I don't like losing things. Like losing the mid slot, all my skiffs are jacked. I'm going to have to, and my fits were really tight anyway. We'll have to figure it out. You'll come up with it. There'll be a new meta for your skiff fit. It'll work out just fine. Something else, they're a little bit more defensive. They're giving you more target range, 32,000. So you're getting 32 clicks farther targeting range just on the inherent hull itself. I think that overall, you're gaining cargo hold, you're gaining gas hold, gaining ice hold. It's just a really good balance pass for all these ships that have had no love for a while. They've just been getting smacked with the Nerf bat every time. We needed to get this to a level of manageable chaos as far as mining went. While everybody says, oh, you'll never make any money, you'll never make any money, everybody in nullsec that had half a clue what had mining fleets. That's just the way people made big fat paychecks. Look at the guy. Like, I'm gonna call you out, Chicklet. My boy Chicklet has a mining fleet, and he does really good with it. It's a pain in the butt to manage. It's a pain in the butt to keep all of his finances, going, and he plexes his stuff. He does a good job. But those guys have been able to do a lot with a lot of effort. They're just balancing that out. And honestly, those guys with the mining fleets are going to come out of this better than the guys that are single rook miners. They're kind of rewarding, and this is the one thing that kind of tweaks my butt just a little bit, is we're kind of stepping on the one account player and rewarding, multiple accounts. I've got multiple accounts. I think everybody in here but Cypher does, but Cypher probably has. Yeah, they're just not. They're just not official and named. They're all just living somewhere with a catalyst.
Redacted.
Redacted.
Precisely. But what do you guys think?
EVE is a group game. You have to play with a team to really succeed. And I know there's solo guys out there that will say that that's not true, but I mean, they're the exception to the rule. You have to be in a group, and this encourages more group mining, more mining fleets.
Anyone these days that says they're a complete solo player and they don't have like a side character that's got a group is a liar.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I see this encouraging mining fleets at high levels in alliances and whatnot, about the R64 R32 moons. Oh my God, our moon mining, it's gonna tank moon mining. We need to figure out how we're gonna do this. Okay, I get it. There's some scary shit in there for those guys that have to manage these massive empires that have to be financed. I get that. Like, I am not trying to take away from that at all. However, I think that it's a little too early to start screaming that the sky is falling. It's good to be prepared, but it's a little too early to scream that the sky is falling when I don't think it's going to be game breaking. I think it's just different. And EVE players, we don't like different, but we're just going to have to roll with this one. And this is better than it could have been, guys. They could have taken moon mining away. I mean, if we want to look at extremes, yeah, not everyone gets to moon mine in EVE. You got to, usually you got to be part of a mid-sized group or above to do some moon mining. I think the guys in HiSec that have their little R4 moons are probably going to suffer more than we will out in Null.
I'm interested to see what the actual graphical changes are to the Porp and the Orca once they fire up the Indie Core.
That'll be neat if they actually kind of do like a Rorqual does, where it kind of stands up on its ass end. That would be neat.
Yeah,
I'd really
beautiful.
Yeah,
I got to mine for a couple hours yesterday for the first time in forever. Yeah, we just kind of sat out there and harvested 1 billion in ore, and hopefully I can turn it into something to make some money.
Nice. So new skills, new gear, new modules, new ship stuff. This was a huge undertaking that they're doing. So it'll take some time to get to adjust to, but like our mining director, Zudla, he's already like, okay, I'm going to start going through these spreadsheets and see what that means for us. We know the guys at the alliance level have been going through this. I mean, because we see their discussions. They're trying to figure all this out. We've got some panic, and we've got some people that are like, I don't think it's going to be that bad. And then you got others that are like, hey, this actually looks pretty cool. So I think there's a good, decent spread across New Eden right now of how people feel. It is not universally hated. Now, when it actually drops, it might be. Or people will be like,
liked either.
Yeah, I mean, people might say, okay, that's not so bad, And I'm trying to be positive about it, but I'm trying to be positive for a reason. Like, I'm not fanboying. I'm looking at it and saying, okay, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, the waste thing sucks, but it makes sense. I can't say it doesn't. So I can't sit here and gripe about it too much. I mean, if we ran an actual mining company, Kennecott Copper, okay, one of the largest mining companies in the North America. Kennecott Copper is out in Utah, and if you ever fly in and out of Salt Lake City, you fly over what used to be a mountain and is now a huge slag pit, where Kennecott Copper has taken this mountain and just strip mined it down over the decades to get that copper out of there. There is an ass ton of waste. Like, they even have they have reports I used to have a lot of clients that worked there when I lived in Utah. I built homes. They had reports, and they would say, almost like the guys who work in the oil industry, like, I'm watching the price of copper right now. We're watching our losses and our ratios of waste, because that influenced their pay and their bonuses. That happens in real life in mining. Why wouldn't it happen here? If Eve is more of a simulation than a video game, right? I think it's kind of cool that they're adding a little more realism. And I know people are going to throw fucking tomatoes at me for saying that, but I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Does that make sense? Am I rambling?
I think sounds legit. I mean, you've got tailings piles around mining operations for a reason, and it's not because they can use 100% of what they pull out of the ground.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
We talked a little bit about this whole compression loss thing yesterday in comms, and just had a good visit about it. And it's like, all right, how the hell do you logic this out? Let's say that the things we're pulling out of these asteroids in space, maybe they have a volatility, and the sooner you compress them, because the Rorqual has the highest efficiency for compression, maybe it's a matter of when you're pulling moon ore up to compress it. You're going to lose some because you're pulling it into space. Whenever you're mining ore that's in space, well, maybe it has a less dense structure because of, where it was formed. It's formed in space. No gravity means that these crystals or whatever just formed. You have to think that whenever you crush it down, you're crushing some of it, and some of it's just going to turn into dust.
Flake away, right?
And I think the time to compress, you know what? Mine all damn day, and then whenever you're done and you're ready for bed, right-click, compress, and go to bed.
Go to bed.
Wake up the next morning, all your hard work from yesterday is ready for you to cash in. And if you really don't want to mine all that crap, then buy yourself a freighter and haul that shit to somewhere where somebody does want to compress it. That's pretty easy to do. You don't have to compress all your stuff. You don't have to incur that loss. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people start passing on that loss, because just like right now, I don't refine all my own stuff. I have that dude in my corp who has max refined skills that I contracted over to, and he does the job, and I just pay him for the reprocessing fees. Great guy. Krasow handles all that stuff. He's a great dude. Everybody knows that guy. And if you don't know that guy, you need to meet that guy, because that dude's awesome. Every corp seems to have the one guy, right? I'm sure you guys have one for sure.
Yeah. Frozen.
Yeah. And that's, I almost said Frozen, but I was just like, wait a minute, maybe it's not, but yeah. And so you've got all these dudes, and that Eve is a game of communities. You've talked about this for, multiple shows now about Eve Vegas. You talked about building communities. These are the things that build communities, is a mutual need, a mutual dependence on each other. And I think they're keeping that theme with these changes. It makes sense to me.
Me too. And I think that one of the ways people make money in Eve more, they find a niche. They find some avenue, some aspect of life in New Eden that is underserved, and they either fill it or they create the scratch for the itch that maybe people didn't even know were there. Well, now we've got all these haulers that have a pass over them, and they're going to be able to haul all that uncompressed ore for people like you and me that say, you know what, I'm not going to get the best compression rates on this. I'm just going to sell it raw. So now somebody else, if I don't want to haul it, I can pay someone else to haul it. So yeah, I'm losing a little bit of ISK, but I'm gaining a convenience at the same time. So somebody else might say, you know what, I'm just going to have a fleet of freaking ore haulers, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up an ore hauling business to take my shit from 1DQ to Jita or whatever. I'm just making that up. But that's what they're going to do, and they're going to make money doing that. They're going to become the new red frogs of ore doing that. That's a possibility. They take that risk upon themselves to move it because they get a nice payoff for hauling it back and forth. But you're right. There's people out there that will either compress for free for you or for the cost of whatever they have to pay, or they're making a little something on it because they've already invested in the skills and the equipment and whatnot. So those guys that have the Rorks out there compressing for 4.4 hours for an entire moon's worth of ore or whatever, well, okay, then hopefully they're getting financially rewarded for that, for doing it. But I don't see this as completely game breaking. I think it's just going to add a cool new complexity to the creation process. And, it doesn't stymie production because they already have some of the PI requirements for capitals. I'm hoping that means we get to start seeing dreads produced again in good numbers.
We've talked about this in the past, I believe. I don't know if it was on the podcast or it was on a different show. We actually talked about it. And to me, a lot of this actually looks like more passovers of, and you're going to kind of cringe again, like the stealth change. They're trying to get rid of the stagnant gameplay.
Sure. And if you remember back when we talked about that, before it even came out, I was Sky is Falling, FCCP, don't touch my stealth stuff. And you know what? My gameplay for stealth, all my stealth stuff I like to do, it hasn't changed at all. At all. Those stupid towers hardly freaking work. Nothing has changed for me in stealth. So I got all bent out of shape and worked up about that goddamn stealth change, and it turned out that I didn't need to be worried about it the whole time.
Well, and it's not like you're just sitting in a system AFK for days.
No, I'm not wrong.
You're not like some of these guys that cloaky camp somebody for days without actually being there.
Well, and that's what we're saying here is like, that's what, the orcas and the orcs do, is it pretty much, you set up and you disappear.
Yep. You keep an eye on it to see if you need to sino in the defense fleet or sino out your, get out of compression mode and get off grid, or otherwise you just sit there and freaking eat belts. Well, not going to be able to do that as efficiently anymore. You'll still be able to do it. It just won't be as lucrative as it was. Was it worth Jita Riot over? And Mitani even said it in his pings. It's not about just this. It's about, the past X amount of years of these changes that come about. And, we're expecting one thing and we get sold a bill of goods. So I get that. There's a lot of frustration that's built up. At the end of the day, am I still going to play Eve? And am I excited that in a little bit over a year, we'll be celebrating we'll be coming up on like the 20th for this game? Yeah, I'm kind of happy about that.
I mean, it's a pretty cool thing to have devs that still make new content for the game.
Right? I had talked with Dunk a while ago, Dunk Dinkle, the major domo of Brave, and a while ago, but of course things kind of got a little crazy for Brave over the past few months, so we weren't able to get that interview like we wanted, but maybe I can try to get him, because Dunk is pretty deep in industry and mining. He's one of those guys that has a big brain for it. So maybe we can get him on here and see if he's willing to talk to us a little bit about it. And I just want to get these people's, the players that this is really going to affect the most. I want to get their opinions on it. Johan, closing comments.
I think I'm just going to go ahead and plug downtime tomorrow. We've got Felice Fawn and the story of the Fortizar. Got a guy named Tubes from MyCorp who was going to join us about EVE London and kind of maybe let you guys compare and contrast some war stories between the two events, London and Vegas. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. I think we're going to do it tomorrow at noon Central, if that works for everybody, because we don't want to be stepping on AT too much, or Mitani has a fireside, so we don't want to be stepping on other people's shit. So
100%.
That works for you guys. We're going to start an hour early, so we got that time to do it. Also tomorrow, one of the things that was in the first recording of this podcast that got eaten by the bot was the story of the Veterans Day Massacre in Oh Shit. So OSHT TAC A, I think, is the system.
Yep.
So we'll be going over there.
Right. Oh shit.
It's oh shit. And we're going to be going over that because Smashies was there for it. He was knuckle deep in Pappy and giving them the good swirl. They're currently sitting over there with their therapist pointing at the teddy bear where Smashies touched them. So we're going to go over that and talk about that battle as well. So we've got two cool battle reports to go over. We've got the awesome Fortizar debacle of South Pravi, which is going to be a cool talk, and with Felice, and then we've got the oh shit battle. And I think Johan, I think a couple of your guys were in there. Like Felice might have been at the oh shit battle too, so we can get a couple people talking about that.
Yeah, I think actually both the guys that are going to join us were at the big oh shit fight. I know Felice definitely was.
Yes. Felice was definitely there. I saw him.
Yeah, and I know because at one point Felice said something to me about I was trying to put your guys he was making them like personally blue to him so that they would show up a little better, even though we're blue to each other. Like he was trying to figure out a way that
we're the same fleet. We're purple. It overrides it.
Well, no, there was like 3 fleets.
Yeah, there
was 3 friendly fleets there. So he was trying to figure out, because he saw he saw some of our guys and they were getting hit, and I think he was flying Logi, and they were trying to get our guys. They were trying to help our guys out. Like, that's our bros. We've got to get Logi on them, even though they weren't in the same fleet. So I think there's some cool stories we're going to get out of this. So some good stuff. Some really good stuff. Okay, so Saif, any closing comments? Wrap it up.
All I am is I'm just sitting here collecting tears. That's all.
Yes. As a PvP primary guy, do you think that these changes are gonna help your fun in the game?
It could. It very well could.
Okay.
I have to get some of those spies out there in the belts.
See what's going on.
Yep. See what we can hot drop.
There
You're
you go.
not going to miss a porpoise by align times anymore. They'll be stuck there just like everything else.
Of them, who cares?
That's a good point. See, that's one of the things I love about my porpoises. I've got it down to almost server tick for align and warp. When you pop that compact industrial core, game changer. So things to think about. Smashies. Wrap-ups?
Guess I'm going to say I'm the one looking forward to a lot of this stuff from both aspects of being a miner and being somebody who hunts miners. Like, hey, they have to put more blingy stuff on their ships now, which means higher kill boards.
There you go. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've already seen people talking about is they need to get special gear if they want to be able to compensate for it, and stuff you got to buy with LP and whatnot. So we'll see what happens with that. So for a future episode, something I would like to talk about is I'd like to get some people on here who are much more, I'm going to call it subject matter experts of abyssals, because I know nothing about abyssals. And Johan and I have talked about this privately. I'd like to get a couple folks who actually run abyssals as their, maybe like a primary activity, and they're pretty deep into it. I'd love to get some people on here to talk about abyssals and, the why they do it, and is it as lucrative as people say? And I know that there's some adrenaline rushes. So that's something, if you're a listener and you're really into abyssals, please shoot us a message, hit me up, let me know that you'd be interested in talking about this. If you'd like to come on the show, would love to have some diverse opinions on that. You can hit me up in game through an email at Aradus Gunnell, ARADUSGUNNELL. And I've also
hard.
Yes, English is hard. And I've actually just I finally made the Joey pork roll alt. So it's two names. Joey's the first name, and then pork roll is one word for the second. And yes, he does look like he just fell off the set of Jersey Shore. So,
he does.
Yeah. So I'm going to be using that as a just coordination for, any of the streams and podcasts I do for an in-game character for it. So he's kind of a placeholder character, since trying to explain to people why I got 9 different names is burdensome and stupid. So we'll just kind of focus that. All right. So that'll wrap up this episode for November 13th, 2021. Again, tomorrow, Sunday. If you're listening to this, it's probably already happened. But, now I can get this out tonight. If you're listening to this and it's still Saturday or Sunday morning, know that on Sundays, we do the downtime show on twitch.tv/Joey Porkroll. And we will have a few guests, like Johan said, so we can talk about some cool battle reports. And I'm sure it'll bleed over into this talk we've had today as well, because this is going to be a big topic until it actually happens. Thanks a lot. Fly safe, and
don't fly safe. Fly dangerously.
Fly stupid if we're around, so that way we can pop you. Hey, wait, you listened all the way to the end? You sexy beast. Thanks for checking out EVE Lowlife, our little EVE Online podcast about low-sec life. We hope you enjoyed it. Please keep an eye out for our future episodes, and feel free to get in touch with the hosts in-game, Cypher, CHYPH3R, or Aradus Gunnell, ARADUSGUNNELL. Remember, we do allow sponsorships and advertising on the show, paid in ISK, not real money. If you'd like us to plug your corporation or alliance, an upcoming event, or whatever else EVE related, reach out to us to discuss. We can help you make your ad, or you can design your own. Well, that's enough of this shit. Thanks for listening. Later, nerd.